Well, it's Monday, November the 28th, just another night of opportunity in the NBA. Had a pretty good year so far, trying to keep it going with 3 games tonight. Let's get right to them, shall we? Starting in Washington, where the Wizards play host to the Sacramento Kings. Washington a 5-point favorite at BetSafe, 212 the total in this game. Now the Kings starting to come on a little bit. They've won 3 of their last 4, but they will be playing the second night of a back-to-back here after beating the Brooklyn Nets last night. And I'm not sure this is a real good matchup for them. You know, the Kings' Achilles heel for the past couple of seasons has been perimeter defense. And here they face one of the Eastern Conference's best backcourts. I'm talking, of course, about John Wall and Bradley Beal. Now, Wall's had a great season, but Beal was a little bit slow to come on, showing definite signs of life, though. He poured in 25 points in Washington's last game. That was against San Antonio on Saturday night. And even though the Wizards did drop that game, they had won 2 straight prior, and it was the first time all year they had won back-to-back games. So they're showing some signs, and they welcome Ian Mahinmi back to the fold. You might recall they gave Mahinmi a $64 million contract in the offseason to help bolster their interior defense, but he missed the first 14 games of the year. Again, he is back now, though, just in time, as he will welcome DeMarcus Cousins to town. Cousins, of course, a force in the interior for the Sacramento Kings. And look, he has a big game just about every night, so he should have a big game tonight. But I do believe the Wizards will throw a lot of bodies at him and try to frustrate him. Mahinmi, one of those bodies. And again, like I said, I don't think this is a great matchup for the Kings. Going on the road, second night of a back-to-back, playing a really talented backcourt like Washington has. I like the Wizards to cover the 5-point number here. Moving on now to New York, where the Knicks host the Oklahoma City Thunder. New York, a 1-point favorite at BetSafe, 213.5 the total here. Now the Knicks have been slipping on the defensive end here. They've surrendered 100 points or more in 5 of their past 6 games. Joakim Noah is playing now, but he's still not himself, slowed by injuries, was benched for the entire fourth quarter of New York's last game, a loss to the Charlotte Hornets. And in that loss to the Hornets, New York had real trouble with Kemba Walker. Walker going off for 28 points, really the primary reason the Hornets won that game. And we mentioned the Knicks have been slipping defensively of late. So here comes Russell Westbrook. Now, Westbrook, I mean, if he's not the favorite for the MVP award, I know the Thunder, not among the best teams in the Western Conference, but they are 10-8, coming off a 106-88 win over the Detroit Pistons on Saturday night. Westbrook, his 7th triple-double of the season. He now has just as many triple-doubles in his career as LeBron James, and it's taken him, wait for it, 396 fewer games to get there. I know it sounds unbelievable, but Russell Westbrook just has been a machine, almost averaging a triple-double this season. Westbrook with 31 points, 11 rebounds. Let me try that one more time. 31 points, 11 assists, and 9.9 rebounds per game. Westbrook has been a one-man wrecking crew for this Oklahoma City Thunder team, and the Knicks are just not going to be able to deal with him. Now, the Thunder, even though they have problems defending the perimeter, their interior defense has been a different story. So I think Steven Adams and company are going to have some success here against the talented Knicks front court. Kristaps Porzingis, Carmelo Anthony. I think the Thunder are just a better team than New York right now. I like them as a 1-point dog. Think they're going to pick up the win in Madison Square Garden tonight. OKC +1, my recommendation there. Moving on now, final game I'll be involved in on this Monday night. What about the Utah Jazz going on the road to face the Minnesota Timberwolves? Utah a 2-point road favorite at BetSafe, 195 the total here. Now Minnesota, a lot of talent on their team, a lot of young talent, led by Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns, of course, but they just haven't been able to put it together and win a whole lot of games this season. Just 5-11 on the year. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They're only winning that stretch over the lowly Phoenix Suns. And look, we mentioned a lot of young talent, but they just haven't been able to come together on the defensive end, despite hiring Tom Thibodeau in the offseason, who is, of course, maybe the best defensive coach in the NBA. Thibodeau hopes to mold this Minnesota team into a team sort of like the Utah Jazz. The Jazz lead the NBA in scoring defense, surrendering just over 92 points per game. They beat the Atlanta Hawks in their last game on Friday. They only allowed 68 points in that game. They won 95-68. That is now the 8th time, they've held an opponent below 90 points this season. That leads the NBA. The Timberwolves, meanwhile, surrendering 103.5 points per game. Utah, the better team, a much better front court. The twin towers of Derek Favors and Rudy Gobert, really tough for opponents to deal with. It's going to be a tough game for Karl Anthony Towns here. I think Utah is able to go into Minnesota and pick up the road win. Keep in mind now that the Jazz do have George Hill back. Hill, their starting point guard, missed 8 games with an injury, but scored 23 in that win over Atlanta that we mentioned on Friday night. So Utah starting to come together now, fully healthy, finally 9-8 on the season. I believe they go to 10-8 with a win over Minnesota tonight. There you have it, folks. Those are my thoughts for this Monday, November the 28th. I like the Washington Wizards -5 at home against the Sacramento Kings. I like the Oklahoma City Thunder +1 in New York. And I like the Utah Jazz -2 on the road in Minnesota. I wish you best of luck no matter what you decide to do tonight, just so long as your interests don't conflict with my interests. Until tomorrow, for Bet Safe, I'm John Arnette.